stop telling me to go meet someone in the wild when I go in the wild and someone will be staring at me the whole entire night and won't come say hi? How many more times is that going to happen? How many more times am I going to be in the bar, playing pool, at the coffee shop, on a walk, and I will be staring down another person who is staring me down, smiling across the table, whatever, and you don't come say hi? Oh my gosh. What am I meant to do, you guys? Am I gonna have, like, we always have to make the first move or something? Because, like, oh my gosh.
Top reasons why men aren't approaching women in 2025. For one, low testosterone levels. Men's testosterone levels are the lowest they've ever been because of diet, exercise, all these factors, not living healthy lifestyles, and testosterone is what gets men to be motivated to go and ask a girl out. Two is dating apps. Dating apps has made it way too easy for men to think that they have access to women. It gives them this like false hope, and it makes it so easy for them to just go on their phone and take the easy way out. Is consuming too much online adult content. It is getting really scary when men just go on their phones and can instantly have access to all sorts of material. Why would they even go out and court a girl if they don't need to? Girls do not make this any easier. Girls are not approachable. Men are terrified of being called creeps or making a girl uncomfortable, so a lot of them just don't do it.
When you go to a bar, do you typically look to pick up a girl? Like, would you go up to a group of girls and like, okay,
never.
You would never do
Never.
that. Okay.
Never. I can't bring myself to do it. I think that all of the like typical pickup lines or whatever you would say to someone you don't know comes off so fucking sleazy. It's like not the move.
Okay, here are some of my theories why men don't approach women in public. Okay, number one, I think they have had a super horrible traumatic experience with like literally one woman. Like one woman really did them so dirty that traumatized them moving forward. Like they can't even move forward because they're still so hurt from the past one experience that they're moving from a place of hurt and not from like a healed perspective. Two, men have a very sensitive ego. And they rather protect that ego from it getting bruised just a little bit, just simply by a rejection from a woman, than to actually go and pursue something. Okay, and third point, men have it way too easy now with all the dating apps and Instagram and sliding into someone's DMs. Like, why would they want to do that in public when they can just choose the easy way out and do it through social media behind a screen?
So I just left the gym. Well, actually, I just left Whole Foods because I was grocery shopping, but I think I saw like the hottest guy I've ever seen in my life at the gym. And I was working out and he was like staring at me, and he was actually like down the treadmill, like 2 treadmills down. So then like I got off the treadmill and I went to the sauna, and then I saw him again. He came to the sauna. The whole time he was like staring at me and he did not say one word. And I'm just like, are you gonna say anything? Like, and I'm not like the kind of person to like approach or talk to a guy first. I know like a lot of girls do that. I just can't. Maybe that's why I'm still single. But men, like, seriously, if you're gonna like stare, like, why don't you say something? Like, what is wrong with men these days? Like, they'll stare at you but they won't say anything. It's just so weird to me.
I feel like it's so rare that men shoot their shot in public anymore, or like even just say hi like a normal human being. I feel like men are so intimidated now and hiding behind social media. They don't know how to talk to girls in real life anymore. And the ones that do are like the freaks, and they be approaching you in the weirdest ways.
So why do men no longer come up to women? I asked this in a TikTok last week, and it got so many comments, especially from men. And I just want to preface this with, this was no shade to men. This post was no shade to men, and neither is this one. I was just genuinely curious and asking. I love men. I think they're awesome, and I think that they're a little confused right now. But most of their responses said something like, we were told not to go up to you guys, and we were told that you want to be left alone and you just want your own space and you don't want us approaching you. Which for some women that can absolutely be true, but I love meeting people in person, and I just think that it takes a confident person to go up to someone when you see them in person, and I think it's a really cool way to meet people rather than meeting people online. And we're also saying things like they were called creeps and weirdos, and they don't want to be called that. It's not a pleasant experience. But I will say that it has to do with how you approach a woman. Like, for example, myself and my friends have had men come up to us with a really, really intense energy, like a very in-your-face energy, and they're really nervous and they're kind of scattered and they're very pushy or weird, and their energy is just off. And one of the most attractive things to a woman is emotional intelligence, and that shows within like the first few seconds of meeting someone when they introduce themselves to you. So if you're gonna go up to a woman, just like take a calm, deep breath. If you see a woman working on her laptop or something at a cafe, you can go up to her and be like, hey, my name is so-and-so. I thought you were really beautiful and you seem interesting. I would love to get to know you more if you're interested. And then slipping her your number on a napkin or something, you know? Like, just coming up to women with a calm energy and not giving off this like needy energy or this like pushy energy. I think that is what women don't like. I think it's really sweet and cute to be approached in person, and I know that there's a lot of women like me. There's probably some women out there who don't want to be approached, and that's fine, and it's hard to tell who's who. But I think you can tell when you go up to a girl kind of right away if she'd be interested or not based on her body language, and just be calm and natural and don't overthink it. You know, I know that's easier said than done. I've only gone up to a man once in my whole life, but I think that might help. I don't know. I think I'm just someone who's very interested in people interacting with each other and having experiences and building community. And I think the world is growing more and more introverted and people are on their phones more. And I just think it's beautiful to meet people out and in person, and I just don't want to lose that as a humanity.
But that's why I'm like, okay, and that's why I wanted to talk about this with you, because I'm like, if I feel this way, there's so many other people in the world that are feeling this way. And if anything, more and more as like social media becomes bigger and bigger and bigger, and dating apps, the more people feel uncomfortable to talk to you in real life. And I'm like someone that's very, very much like passionate about like, I have Raya, but like I've never went on a date from a dating app. Not that I like judge it or anything. I just have this weird internal knowing that like I'm gonna meet someone in real life, like organically through friends. That's how I've always met everyone. But then now it's like the more people are going on social media, the more uncomfortable even some men are to like walk up to you. It's like I've seen guys stare at me like the whole night, and I'm like, you are still never gonna fucking say anything?
Isn't that crazy?
It's
They'll
so
just
annoying.
Stare, like as if you're supposed to make the first move.
Yeah, I'm like,
that is so normalized. I totally agree with you, because right now everyone is so behind the keyboards on the dating apps, like on the paywall platforms. Like there's so many ways that we're just disconnecting from other people and losing, honestly, that sense of like that social aspect, that social lubricant, whatever it is that makes you be able to go around a room and talk to strangers and all this, that confidence essentially. And
you guys, so I'm at the gym. You know what? Go up to her. Go up to the girl that you think is cute, because most likely she likes you too, and she's waiting for you to go up to her. So do it.
We're in a weird place these days where I think men aren't approaching women as much in person, and I feel like it's the thing that in theory I want to be approached, and I think most women do, but in reality when it happens, it's a complete stranger who is approaching you and talking to you, and it can feel kind of scary. You need some kind of way to know that a guy is normal, that he's vetted, before you just give out your personal information. Meeting through mutual friends or on an app that's based on overlaps like Left Field feels so much safer than just being approached by a stranger in a bar, even though that is kind of fun. But I just think as I've gotten older, that feels less and less safe to me.
Guys, men used to go to war and now they look at you weird when you approach them at the bar because all they did was stand around and stare at the wall all night. Just posted the outfit I want to work, but I need everyone to know that this is me approximately 5 minutes after coming home from work. Work clothes immediately off, comfy clothes immediately on, and this will be me for the rest of the night. And that's about it.
Okay, I have a question, and maybe this is a stupid question, but that hasn't stopped me in the past from asking my questions. My question here, you know, my brother was telling me about how in the gym, guys don't really approach girls, which, good. Don't approach me. Don't talk to me. Thank you. But so then I was like, if we're supposed to approach guys, how do you know when a guy wants to be approached by a girl? You know? Like, because girls, we'll give like the little ojitos, we'll give little signs. Like, you know, it'll be like we'll keep looking back. They're like, ah. But how do you know? Like, if you're a guy and you saw a pretty girl and you wanted her to talk to you because you don't want to talk to her, what do you do? Please let me know. That's what I'm curious about. Thank you.
Okay. I have some thoughts about why I don't think men approach women, specifically in New York City. Maybe I can generalize to all metropolitan cities in general. This is coming from a girl who has been in a long-term relationship for over 5 years. So if that triggers you, please scroll, because fair, I don't have like actual in the field experience with this. But I have noticed this with all my friends who are majority single in New York. And when I go out with them, even large groups of women, which I know are very intimidating, I wouldn't approach a large group of women either. And also small groups of women, like I'm talking like 2 or 3 girls, where it's a more approachable number of women. Why I think this is not happening as often as we would like, or historically, is because I think women just have more autonomy now. I believe like back in the 1900s, 1800s, women couldn't own land, couldn't vote, didn't even think they could ever have a career. That never crossed their minds. They were trad wives living at home, supporting their husband, raising children, birthing children. Yes, of course, like many women still do that, and as they should and are, it's totally fine. But a reason why I don't think men are approaching women these days is because we're equaling the playing field. We have careers. We are basically attaining what men also want, which is success. Many are businesswomen. Sometimes we can make more than men. You know, these things are happening. It's real. We aren't just spending time at home. We aren't just focusing on getting married and raising children. And specifically in New York City and metropolitan cities, it's just like there's a larger population of women who aren't as focused as being a stay-at-home wife as maybe somewhere, another city. Therefore, when man and woman enter a bar, man probably doesn't feel like a woman is as accessible to them. And this could be a total generalization. So, I mean, please don't like be mean, but I really do believe men are mostly intimidated by women because women have more autonomy now. And I'm not pro-feminist. I'm not like, raw, we hate men. I really just do believe the playing fields are equal. And I also put the pressure on women too. I'm like, I think we should be going up to men. Like, if it really is, if those of you who are complaining that men are not approaching you, like, yes, I don't really believe chivalry is dead, but it's really dwindling. I think you guys should take it upon yourself to approach men as well. I think being your true and most authentic form of yourself is the most important way to attract a man that is compatible to you. Always be yourself. But number 2, I really do think men like confident women. And also, if you're attracted to a woman that's confident, like, you guys are going to find each other if a woman's approaching you. So all this to say is I don't think men are approaching women in New York City and other cities because we're equals. And I think they're intimidated. And also everybody fears rejection, but rejection is probably more feasible these days because we got our own bag. So.
And I've been crying all day because I got sat on a plane next to a couple, and the whole time the guy had his hand on like his girlfriend's leg, you know, and it was just kind of like that the whole time. And I can't, like, I've been single my whole life. I'm 25, and I've never gotten to experience that. What are you waiting for? I've never gotten like close to that. Damn. And it's just too much. Like, it's too much. I can't do it anymore. There are some people out there who they're not interested in a relationship and they want to be by themselves. But like, that's not me, and that's never been me. I have always wanted to be in a relationship, even though I've never been in one. And even though I'm like, I'm comfortable by myself and I can do things alone, but like at a certain point, it gets like really sad doing things alone. Like, I've traveled alone to so many places because like, if I don't go by myself, I'm not gonna go. If I don't do things by myself, it's not gonna happen. But at the same time, like, it's so much fun to be able to like share that with someone else. And like, everyone I know is in a relationship right now. And like, the majority of them have been in relationships for like a long time. Like, this is established. And I just like, I feel like I've always been alone. And I don't want to be. And I don't understand why this is happening to me. And I don't know. I like can't take it anymore. And clearly this didn't work because I'm still crying and I just wasted like 2 minutes of your time. And I'm sorry. And I hope you're having a better weekend than I am. So.
She's only going through all of this because she chooses to. I bet there's a lot of men that's willing to date her and marry her, but she doesn't want them because they don't qualify for her unrealistic standards. This is the problem. They literally do it to themselves and then cry about it on social media. She knows that she can get someone decent. And what I mean by decent is the average man, because she's the average woman. And he'll love her and she could build a family with him. But all of those guys are in her friend zone that's actually ready to date her. But instead, she's looking for the top 20% of men that don't want her. Another important point is relationship skills. A lot of women want to be a wife without having any kind of wife traits. If you're not a wife, no man is going to pick you as a wife. All wives are found early. Make sure that you become wife material. A man is not going to find a woman that doesn't have any wife attributes and marry her. But instead, he'll find a wife and marry her. So a good question for this woman and most women is, are you a wife and do you have relationship skills?
That's a good question. Why men never approach women anymore?
I think we live in a society where men are torn down for small things, and they're scared to shoot their shot, and it's sad to see. They oftentimes bog themselves down before they even get a chance, you know? In this society, looks come first and heart comes second. It's only gonna get worse unless a change is made. Until people start making things online for men to really like regain that confidence back.
What can girls do these days to make guys approach them more?
Smile more and really think about the things that you're saying to these guys to make them feel that way. Don't say things like, you're too short, because that really like does things to guys' ego. It's harmful.
You ever seen a girl reject a guy and scarred him?
I sadly have. At bars and stuff, you know, people like just say ew and turn around, and you can like look at the guy in the eyes and they look really sad after, and just like overall it's a bad time.
Alright, this is for my girls. One, be nice. Be nice to men. Because I've had a restored faith in men that are like actually having the guts to just like come up to women. And if you're mean to them, you're gonna scare them. So don't do that. But I do have a restored faith in men, and I think part of it comes from women being nice, women being open to like just like one, look up from your phone. If you're going for a walk, look up from your phone. Don't have RBF. Actually, that's probably okay. But just like inviting, like smile at somebody if they walk past. Like don't be freaking creepy, but like smile at them. The amount of people I've met on my walks is insane. Literally a guy just walked past. I walked past him. He then like turned around and he was like, hey, excuse me, and then like asked me about restaurant options around the neighborhood. I'm just like, you can meet people if you're willing to just look up from your phone, give a smile, make eye contact. Like we don't have to look like we don't want to talk to humans. We can look like we want to talk to humans, but like, I don't know, I feel like a lot of girls are like, guys just don't, and I'm like, they will if you're nice. Stop being pissy when they walk up. Stop being annoyed. Stop assuming the worst in every man. Like, don't get off on freaking rejecting them. Be nice. You can say, no, I'm good, thank you. But be nice if you're gonna do it. But like, just look up. Smile. But don't be like annoyed that people, like guys aren't approaching you if you're not being approachable, you know? Anyway, I literally just met a new person while walking. The amount of people, like literally all my friends lately have been because I'm like walking. That's how I meet them. Because I smile, I don't look at my phone the whole time. It's not that hard. Anyway, just my 2 cents. Be nice. Be nice. Women, be nice to men. Because we don't need to scare them off. They're finally getting the guts to talk to people again. let's not scare them off by rejecting every single one of them and like embarrassing them in the process. Be nice.
When will men learn to take a fucking hint? Last night I walked out of the bar and I was standing there by myself on the street waiting for my Uber. And these guys come up to me and they're like talking to me, trying really hard. I'm like, I have a boyfriend. Do I have a boyfriend? No. They were pretty chill. They walked away. New guy comes up. He's like, hey, what's your name? I'm like, Paige. He's like, when can I see you again? And I was like, I'm not real. That should have been enough of a fucking hint that I didn't want to speak to you. He continues on. He's like, oh my God, me neither. I can tell you're not real. Like, you're beautiful. And I was like, thank you. He's like, can I get your number? I'm like, no, I have a boyfriend. And he was like, oh. And I was like, yeah, I love my boyfriend. And he was like, well, I could be your new boyfriend. And I was like, no, you can't. I love my boyfriend. And I kept going and he kept fucking going. And I was like, when will you understand that if I'm telling you, first of all, if I tell you I'm not real, if I reject giving you my number, that means that I don't want to fucking speak to you. Why is that so hard to understand? Like, when will it get through their heads? If I reject you once, walk away. It's so simple.
Men don't know how to approach modern day women because women have never been as masculine and dominating or assertive as they ever have been. There's no rule book because women have never been this way in any point in history, and men have never been this way. We have evolved as a species. Women are more capable. They have developed their capabilities, their skill sets, their assertiveness, and men have been tapping in more emotionally, nurturing that internal world because now it's acceptable, unlike before. So, we don't know how to relate to each other because the old rule book no longer applies. When it comes to approaching a woman, it is intimidating. Women are so much more beautiful than they ever have been, with the cosmetic, with the makeup, with the surgeries, and then add assertiveness and capabilities on top of that. Like, I don't think women know how much courage it takes to not buckle under the like radiance of a beautiful woman. It's already intimidating enough, and then you add the fact that some of them like aren't the nicest. Women aren't emotionally as available as they used to be. Before, you could approach a woman and you could pretty much guarantee like she was going to be very soft. Not anymore. Not anymore. There's no standard of behavior. And so when approaching a woman, you need to ask yourself, am I approaching her as a more than or a less than? If it's either, you're already out of the race. It's already going to be bad. Now, if you're approaching someone as a more than, you're approaching them as better than, which means you're going to be condescending. You're probably going to be aggressive. You're probably going to have like no compassion or understanding towards this person. So you will repel healthy, balanced women, and you will most likely attract women with no backbone. You will attract women you don't respect, and you will not respect yourself for being with someone you don't respect. So that doesn't work. Number 2, approaching a woman as a less than. If you approach a woman as a less than, you're approaching her as a people pleaser, as a man who avoids conflict, and she will not respect you. Women do not respect men who cannot say no. They don't respect men who like, and then make shit up. We can tell when you make shit up. Oh my God, it's so obvious. And so many men will come to me and they're like, well, you know, I just feel like I can love her into change, where if I'm just so accepting, she'll never find anyone as accepting as me, and that's my ammo. That's the worst fucking strategy I've ever heard. Women don't work that way. You cannot love someone into melting into your arms, if that makes sense. Like, people think, if I just love her enough and I'm so accepting, then one day she'll just feel safe enough to unravel. Wrongo! That is the opposite of making a woman feel safe. Have you ever had a parent who was like, you know, who was always positive, always just like, you know that parent, or like a grandparent. And when you're upset, you don't want to go to that grandparent sometimes because you need a reality check. You already know what they're going to say. Oh, you're the best thing in the world. You're so strong. Like, don't worry. Like, they just sound like a Hallmark card. People don't like going to that person because they don't believe what they're saying. It's like, oh, they're just trying to make me feel better. They're just going to tell me what I want to hear. No one trusts going to that person unless they want to keep lying to themselves. So that's how women will feel. If you cannot contain the severity of what they're feeling, because sometimes it can be intense and they are taking it seriously, they're not going to feel like they can trust you. If they can't trust you to be honest with them, they're going to go to their friends. They're going to go to other people who will see them as an equal. And yeah, it's just a horrible strategy. When it comes to approaching them, you want to hit the G-spot of communication, not like, okay. The G-spot of communication is assertive communication. It's when you can be direct, firm, grounded, and compassionate. That's my 4-pillar framework that I developed. I'm so passionate about assertive communication because I used to be the person that like, I couldn't even raise my hand. I did not want attention on me at all. Even when I thought an opinion about something, I wouldn't speak up, and then later I'd like beat myself up about it. And that was in my teens. Then I started hosting public speaking workshops because I started doing the social entrepreneurship program in Washington, D.C. So then I started leading public speaking workshops. From the time that I was 15 to the time that I was 21, a bitch was in front of a crowd. And that's my 4-pillar framework when it comes to not only speaking in public, but approaching someone in communication, especially when it comes to conflict. So I help men and women learn assertive communication because it's a skill set that requires emotional regulation, being able to stay grounded because you feel a lot of like fear or anger sometimes during conversations. So if that's something you like help in, you can book a call. If not, learn more about assertive communication, okay? It's gonna change your life.
What happened to men pursuing girls? When was the pivotal moment that a man chose to not go after a girl anymore or put in any effort? It seems like guys can just put the bare minimum and not even really put in effort anymore. They don't really care to. Or they're like, why don't girls just go and make the first move and make the effort? When did it become a thing? Now it's like role reversal where they expect girls to be making the first moves, yearning for a guy and chasing him. That is, I feel like, the downfall of why it's so hard to meet someone, because men don't put in effort anymore or don't care to put in effort. And a relationship won't work unless the guy likes the girl just a tiny little bit more. He has to like her just the tiniest bit more for it to work in the long haul. So it would make sense if a guy really wanted to get to know you, that he would go leaps and bounds to get to know you. And when did that shift? Because back in my mom's era, if a guy wanted to take you out on a date, he had to go up to you, he had to get your number, he had to go through lengths to try to talk to you, even if you weren't interested at first. How my parents met? They met at a bar, and my dad asked for my mom to dance, and my mom was like, get out of here. She wanted nothing to do with him. If he had just left and listened to her, they would have never gotten married, they would have never had kids. But he was persistent. He wanted to take her out on a date so badly. He was like, what do I have to do to take you out on a date? She was working late their first date, so he went to her work, picked her up, prepped a dinner, took her to a park, just planned the whole thing. He wrote her poetry. He was yearning. How my aunt and my uncle met. My aunt was a dancer on a cruise ship, and he was the photographer. And he was persistent. She overheard him one night saying to his buddy, he was like, I'm gonna marry that girl. He had just met her. And now they're married and they have 2 kids together. I don't hear anything like that now. Now we're praising eye contact. Now we're praising if a guy held a door open to us and smiled. That is what we're praising. It feels so backwards. I just wonder when it shifted, because I feel like that is the whole downfall of why it's so hard to meet someone now, because men just don't care anymore.
So what I really want to talk about today is that bullshit T app, that T dating advice, which is not even about dating. It's more about post this guy and bash him, say whatever you want to say about him, even if it happened 10 years ago or if it didn't happen at all. You guys are taking things out of context. You're making things up. You're bringing up family members, sisters, siblings, mothers, fathers, cousins, all this kind of information. And what you're really doing is ruining lives and hurting people's mental health. When someone hurts themselves, it's going to be on you. You're ruining lives. You're hurting people. You're being a hater. You're contributing to hate. You want to see more love and happiness in this world, but look at what you guys are doing. This is not okay. This is not Christian-like. This is not normal behavior. You guys have to get a grip on yourselves, literally. And you guys act like rumors don't happen and no one's ever said a rumor about you. I'm pretty sure they have, and you guys know exactly how it feels. So stop over-exaggerating. Stop reporting false information. Stop making shit up. Like, it's not okay. It's not worth it. You're literally degrading yourselves, degrading our men. If you're so worried about someone that's going to be an offender, I mean, if he's so bad, we would already know about him, 1. Number 2, there's a background check for a reason. And number 3, like I said, people change, people live, people learn. So
If you're with me and you don't like this app, I suggest reporting it to the App Store, reporting the post, and don't contribute to the hate. And when people bring this topic up to you, shut it down. Shut it down. I hope to see this app gone, diminished. That's it. I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to see about it. Nothing. So please, stop contributing to this hateful trend and spread more positivity. I know you guys want to have each other's backs, but you're doing more harm than good.
What is the number one reason men don't approach beautiful women? I'm scared of women. Respecting people's privacy, personal space, and time. 2 things. The first is coming off like a creep, and 2, the fear of rejection. A third is a combination of both. Most adults are in relationships. Most strangers are not compatible enough to be in a relationship, regardless of how beautiful they are. There are much better ways to meet a potential partner than approaching a stranger in a coffee shop.